Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be reviewing the Fluxpad V2. This is a $30 rapid trigger keypad made for Osu. I was sent this for free by the creator and no, I'm not paid for this review, so yeah, hope that keeps things honest. The keypad comes in a simple white box. Inside is the keypad, and that's basically it. There's no extra USB cables, switch or keycap pullers, nothing. Also, note that when you get your keypad, the rubber feet on the underside will have a plastic sticker over it. So remember to pull it off, or the keypad will just slide everywhere. The keypad itself looks pretty neat. It has 3 buttons on the bottom and 2 at the top with a knob. The thing is that the knob also uses a stepped encoder, which means that there's this clicking feeling when you turn it. It's kind of cool to see a nicer knob on it instead of the usual cheap knobs that you see on every macro pad out there, but it's also interesting that the encoder they used on the keypad is one that doesn't work as a push button, which means that you can't press it down to click an extra button. This is kind of a weird decision here, but I'm not gonna question it, I guess. The keypad uses a sandwich construction, which means that the keypad is made of layers that are sandwiched on top of each other and then screwed together. You can clearly see it from the side. The LED concept is pretty cool. I especially like how you can see the LEDs from the top here, but overall the lights actually aren't that bright, except for that bit on the top. You can see this especially from the side of the keypad. On the other hand, the lights on the switches themselves are crazy bright. In a way, I guess I'm not surprised at how they turned out this way. This kind of happened to me when I tried making my own keypad myself, so yeah. Of course the keys are bright. Each key has an LED pointing up to the sky. Speaking of the switches, it uses analog Hall effect switches. Hall effect switches are switches with magnets in them. And then on the PCB itself, there are these Hall effect sensors that can electronically tell how far away a magnet is from it. So yeah, that's kind of how Hall effect switches work. The entire construction is able to tell how deep a switch is pressed. The Hall effect switches in question are the Gateron KS20s, which are basically rebranded lacquer switches that you can find on Wooten keyboards, except these are in a different colorway. But for the 2 switches up here that are different in color, these aren't Hall effect. They are regular Gateron Cherry MX Rit switches. Yeah, so that means that only the 3 bottom keys are analog and have rapid trigger, and the 2 keys on the top, they don't have it. They're regular digital switches. This also means that the keypad isn't waterproof, so be sure not to do this. Okay, let's try. By the way, that's GamerSupps Blue. Use code tokaku for 10% off your purchase on GamerSupps. Okay, I said before you click off, I have free stuff to give you guys. I actually can't believe it. I got partnered with the Anime Girl energy drink brand that I've been buying for the past half a year plus. You know, usually for partners and sponsors, they send you a box of their stuff for you to try. They haven't done that because everything you see here, I have actually bought myself. So I can vouch that I really like their stuff. I don't drink coffee, so I love my sweet, keto-friendly, zero-calorie, caffeine energy drink. One of the biggest reasons why I like it is because it doesn't have that powdery taste when you mix powdered drinks. The flavors are really nice too. You can see the Fluxpad right there. This one tastes very tropical. Then this one is blue. There's the one you saw me drinking. I really like it, especially if you mix it with the blueberry one. When is it coming back in stock? For the next 24 hours since this video is published, you can get some GamerSupps for free shipping, and this is worldwide. You can get some sample packs with the link in the description or on the screen right now, and after the 24 hours, it will be 10% off any purchase on the store. Code tokaku. And now, back to the video. Alright, let's talk rubber feet. These work really well. They're not meme feet like Lotus keypads. But the thing is, this is only for bare tables. On a desk mat, it doesn't fare as well. Thankfully, it also is the kind of game that doesn't push your controller all over the place as much as a game like Sound Vortex, for example. But just note, it will have a bit of movement, or a lot of movement, depending on how violently you play. To be honest, you can just use the keypad right out of the box without any drivers or anything, but if you want to adjust stuff, you have to download their software program. A little weird that the application is unsigned, but okay. Anyway, here you can see that you can change the keybinds or what the knob does. My only complaint is that when you want to change the keybinds, you have to scroll through this entire giant list of what you can set it to. But to be honest, it's kind of a small hassle, all things considered, unless you're one of those people who are constantly changing their keybinds for some reason, to which... why? Under the settings tab, you can change the rapid trigger settings. Alright, so I'll just explain what rapid trigger is real quick in case you don't know. Rapid trigger is a software side function that changes how switches actuate. Long story short, it's supposed to make you faster in both pressing the key and releasing it. On regular mechanical switches, they have a set point where the key will actuate. When you press down on a switch and go past a certain point, it will press the key. And then when you lift up your finger above that point, that's when it will release the key. On analog Hall effect switches with rapid trigger, instead of doing that, it counts how much you press down and how much you lifted your finger in order to sense whether you are pressing or releasing. So you could be just moving your fingers up and down at the bottom or the middle of the switch, and it would sense whether you are pressing it or not. This basically means the actuation point is at any point of the switch. So you can see how this goes for Osu. You can just vibrate at the bottom of the switch, and it will sense everything. On the software itself, you can see the number of settings for rapid trigger. You can set the distance your fingers need to move down to trigger the press, and also the distance your finger moves up to register a release. You can set these to stupid sensitive levels, the kind where you just breathe and the keys just start releasing and pressing again on its own. The dead zones refer to the top and the bottom of the switch, where the rapid trigger function will not be detected in those zones. Debounce has to do with switch chatter. It's to stop accidental double pressing from the hardware side itself. Okay, so I'm just gonna explain what chatter is real quick. In a mechanical switch, there is this gold leaf inside of it. When you press down on the switch, the stem presses against the leaf and then the leaf makes contact, and that completes the circuit and the key is recognized as pressed. The thing is, the part where the leaf makes contact is not perfect. The leaf actually has these micro vibrations, which causes the key press signals to look like this. So when you press a key, more than one input is sent sometimes, and that is chatter. Okay, but here's the thing. Hall effect doesn't even have those contact leaf mechanisms because it uses magnets, so I don't know why it has the bounce here. Okay, so editing note, apparently it does chatter if you have rapid trigger turned on. So yeah, you're going to need to use the debounce sliders if you're playing with rapid trigger. But if you're not, it doesn't look like it's chattering at all with the debounce set to 0. But anyway, that's basically what the debounce slider here does. You can adjust how many milliseconds it silences the extra inputs. And if you don't want to use rapid trigger, you can turn it off. And then the options here changes to the actuation height and then the release height. I think these two options are pretty self-explanatory. The rest of the tabs are pretty self-explanatory stuff too. Though I was surprised to find out that the switch LEDs aren't RGB and they're only white. And other than that, they don't have many modes for the RGB for the top strip. I think they can add more things later, but as it is right now, the RGB is rather limited and simple. And as for the last tab, it's for collaboration and firmware updates. Alright, so the polling rate of this thing should be 1000 Hz because that's the fastest that RP2040 chips can run, so... Alright, so for the things I like about the keypad. Well, there's rapid trigger of course, and the knob is pretty cool. This is something I've actually thought of myself when I was thinking of making a keypad, because instead of setting it to something like volume, I set it to up and down arrow keys for it to scroll between beat maps when I'm playing Osu. Though I wish the knob encoder was a push button because I would set it to escape. This would basically free you from using your keyboard at all. And in general, the keypad is a very pretty looking one. I am a basic bitch and I'm a sucker for RGB. The keypad, it does exactly what it's advertised to do. It is a rapid trigger keypad for Osu. Now that I've been using rapid trigger for a long while since my Wooting video, I realized that while it's usually thought of as a speed thing, it's actually the most useful for stamina. You can see improvement in your stamina basically immediately the moment you start using rapid trigger. Not so much with speed unless you start learning to play for speed. And when I mean stamina, I don't mean stamina in terms of streams. I'm talking about overall. Your bursts, your single tap stamina, just stamina in general. Okay, I'm just gonna go over real quick what about the stuff that I didn't really like about the keypad, and is that it's a bit too short for me. It'll take some time to get used to, but when it comes to the height, it's all just me. The thing that really does matter though, that I can see that would happen to other people, would be the knob. The knob actually kind of gets in the way. It's a bit embarrassing to admit, but I play rather violently, and at certain points I could feel my fingers graze on the knob, and I was afraid of breaking my finger. It would be so much better if they just shifted the knob slightly higher. And the other thing I don't really like about this is that it's really loud. This is to be expected from keyboards that have a sandwich construction with a metal plate on the top and the bottom, because the Cyopad O2C that I own also is very loud. You can hear the loudness here. Alright, so let's talk about the price. This is $30. It's priced appropriately. It's not a terrible price. It's still pretty cheap. That's hard to say. I mean, I know most Osu players are broke, and it's $30 for 5 keys and a knob. But, I know what goes into making these keypads. This uses an RP2040 chip, which means that making the PCBs is on the cheaper end, but it's still quite expensive. When it comes to creating a product like this, especially something so small, the most expensive part would be the MCU, the main motherboard chip, and all the extra parts around it that makes it run, like the clock. And as for the RP2040's case, case, it uses a memory flash, which also costs money. When I made my own keypad, I actually used the same chip. So I know this is pretty much what you would price a keypad using that chip. But it's also worth noting that the Cyopad O3C is 10, 15, 20 bucks. I don't have the Cyopad O3C, so I can't say about how it compares to this. But all I can say about Cyo stuff is, holy shit, Chinese people are insane with their manufacturing. Okay, so I have the Cyopad O2C, which is the previous version that doesn't have rapid trigger and doesn't have 3 keys. And I opened it up and the chip on this thing is 50 cents. People in the West are just completely cucked because of the fact that they can't read Chinese documentation. It's completely off topic, but I'm dying to know what's inside the Cyopad O3C. Alright, so the conclusion. Should you buy this? Only if you want to. Nowadays, it's not crazy expensive to get something with rapid trigger, and this is one of those if you have $30 to spare. I think if you're getting this over other rapid trigger keypads on the market, you'd be mainly getting it for the looks. The RGB. And also supporting a small indie store. To be honest, I think this keypad will be worth its price a lot more and stand out from the rest of the keypads if they just fixed the knob issue and added more LEDs. The impression I'm getting from the website so far is that these are being sold in very small batches, so I'm hoping that the version 3 will come out soon with my gripes about this fixed. Because I don't think what I'm asking for is too hard to add, except for more RGB modes. A stupid amount of people are actually using rapid trigger on Osu right now, so if you want to be on the same playing field with the competition right now, you should get one. Though don't get me wrong, you absolutely don't need rapid trigger to become a top pro player on Osu. It's just for the extra edge if you're like 4 digits and better. But if you're like 5 to 6 digits and above, yeah, you don't even bother. Rapid trigger keypad just for Osu. Only for serious Osu gamers out there. So yeah, that's it for the video. Check out the keypad. I left the link in the description. And also, Gamer Subs, go get your free stuff unless it's been past 24 hours since this video has been published. See you guys.